All right, hi everybody. All right, obviously a rough loss. I have some stuff that I want to talk about though that it does relate to this game, but it's not fully just like analyzing the game or whatever. I mean, Tony Brothers is an absolute just terrible official. I'm pretty pissed off at that ejection, but want to make it clear that like that ejection didn't change the game or whatever. Like the Bulls were just getting wrecked tonight. Injuries are very scary. So we'll be talking about all the injuries that did happen. For all of you wondering maybe why Josh Giddey was in to end the game, there's many different reasons, but basically the Bulls only had 7 guys available at the end of that game. No Kobe White and no Zach Collins due to injury. Asenge, if you're wondering why we didn't see him, he's was in the G League tonight playing for the Windy City Bulls in Iowa. And then we saw Dalen Terry, Isaac Okoro, Montes Buzelis all leave the game with injury. And then Patrick Williams fouled out. So Billy was down to 7 players at the end of the game. And Trey Jones was on a minutes restriction. And I mean, I don't know why. Like he didn't hit it. But I don't know if they're just being extremely cautious with him because he didn't look the best. But that's why Giddey was in. Because there was basically no one else that could play. Because I mean, if you take out Trey Jones, then it's basically like there's only 6 guys available. So, and you're not putting Vooch back into this game. So, that's why Giddey was in to end the game. Now, with that being said, that's me protecting Billy Donovan, but I am not here to protect Billy Donovan. I am here to criticize the fuck out of him because, I don't like what we saw tonight in many different aspects. And, analyzing the game, definitely there's some stuff from Billy Donovan I was not happy with the 3-2 zone, but when Herta got ejected, man, I was pissed off at Billy because I thought that he should be screaming at Tony Brothers about this ejection. Like, I want my head coach be willing to take a tech for me and try to protect me as a player. And Billy just kind of conceded. Like, he's just like, okay, I guess we'll just roll with the ejection, which is flat out just stupid by Tony Brothers. Like, it's a terrible ejection. So I thought Billy should have probably have done better with that specific play to just even if we give another point, because again the game at that point is pretty much over, but just yell at Tony Brothers, please. Stand up for your player. I wish I would have saw that, but we didn't see that today. So there's that with Billy, and then I know that Charles kind of hit it here in a little bit, but I don't know why Buzelis came back in. And it's more so like I was kind of okay with him coming back in just to kind of see how he felt. Like, very clearly he got cleared, but he should have came out quicker. Like, he just clearly was not 100%. Like, once that alley-oop lob from Giddey didn't look too great, like, you should have probably pulled him at that point, and the Bulls didn't. They kept him out there for a while. So Buzelis eventually left the game officially and was not available to return in the fourth quarter, but I agree with Charles that I'm just like, I don't know what the hell the Bulls were thinking once, like, we kind of saw Buzelis wasn't really running that great. Even just him going up and down the floor, you can kind of tell he wasn't 100%. And so I thought that the Bulls should have just taken him out. There's no need to risk Buzelis in this sort of game where, yes, it's an NBA Cup game. Yes, I'm aware every point matters, but with this victory with the Heat tonight, like, there's basically no way. I mean, there's a slight chance, but there's pretty much no way the Bulls are going to be getting past into the next round in the NBA Cup. So you should have just taken him out. I was kind of appalled seeing that he was left out there. So I'm pretty pissed off at Billy for just those 2 things that do not relate to the game plan or do not relate to his overall just coaching of the game. Those are 2 things that, they're part of the game, like, sticking up for your player or, trying to, like, you should probably take out an injured player when it was very obvious he wasn't 100%. Those are 2 things that, yeah, they're part of the game, but they have nothing to do with, like, the X's and O's. Which I'm pretty pissed off at Billy and the coaching staff for what they implemented tonight, but those are just 2 things, man, that I'm just like, yo, Billy's gotta be better. I'm pretty pissed off that he didn't yell at Tony Brothers when that Herta ejection happened. I think that was pretty bullshit from Tony Brothers, but it's also just pretty bullshit from Billy Donovan. Like, I know a lot of NBA coaches would be screaming at the officials at that moment, or NBA head coaches would be screaming at the officials at that moment. So yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty pissed off about it, but we'll move on from that unless we have more to discuss from this game. Appreciate everyone tuning in. If you hit the like button just for everyone's sanity tonight, I would appreciate you guys hitting the like button on the stream. I appreciate everyone tuning in to a very terrible Bulls loss and a lot of unfortunate circumstances that happened tonight. But we'll talk a little bit about the game, but we also got to talk about a lot of things that did happen today that are very important for tomorrow, because the Bulls, if you do not know, are very much playing tomorrow against the Washington Wizards. We're luckily at home, so we don't have to travel, but I mean, the Wizards, they've won one game this season, and so the Bulls need to get this win, and it looks like we're going to be probably down some guys because of what's transpired tonight, so we'll be talking about that. So I want to get to chat here. Really say someone should be fired, but this is what I was talking about earlier about what Charles said in the chat. Like that, I agree with it. But some or whatever, someone should be fired for Booz going back out there. So like I said, I was okay with Boozel's returning, but then once I saw him playing, I was just like, oh, okay, like he's got to come out. And that I was just shocked that we still kept him in there once like that alley-oop didn't work out and Giddey was at the free throw line. Like we should have taken him out there, and we just didn't. So he just didn't look right. So I agree that Buzel should have been taken out earlier. Like I was okay with him coming back in, but probably the medical staff should have probably just kept him out. You aren't winning this game, so there really is no reason to risk it. But yeah, eventually he did leave the game officially, but it took a while. Yeah, I agree that Billy, should, like, overall, Billy should have been better with this, just recognizing, hey, he's not 100%. If I was coaching, I would also boot Booze for a few games as a lesson. You need to rest your body, be honest about your injury pain. I mean, maybe. We will see. But again, the medical staff cleared him. So it's partially on Buzelis. It's also on Billy Donovan, but it's also on, I think, the medical staff. Like, very clearly, the medical staff was just like, yeah, you're fine. If you think you can go back out there. And they cleared him. So that's not just on Buzelis. That's also on the medical staff. They got to be better about this overall. So yeah. Also, this would have been a perfect game to play Noah. Yeah, it's unfortunate again. Senge was in the G League tonight. So if you're wondering why we did not see Senge in an obvious game that you should be playing in, he was in the G League tonight. He was playing for the Windy City Bulls. He was in Iowa. So if you're like even thinking like, oh, could he have come in, like randomly late? No. First and foremost, that's illegal. Like the Bulls have to give an injury report before the game, and it says that Senge is on G League assignment, so he's not available for the game. But he was not available tonight to play. So if you're wondering about that, again, it's just, again, Senge was not available today. So yeah, it really does suck that in like the two games that he probably would be getting time, he was in the G League on assignment, like that Detroit game, for example. Like he probably would have gotten time in that Detroit game, but he was on a G League assignment. So it really does suck that in the two games he probably would have made his debut in. He is not, he wasn't there. But I'm totally fine with him being in the G League. That's totally fine. He had a pretty good game tonight, so I'm not too concerned about that. Yeah. I don't care that Giddey went back out. Also, they had a clear set of reasons. I could see, yeah. It was just, there was a lot going on in this one. So Giddey going back out there is totally fine. I know a lot of people are like questioning it, but again, Bulls had 7 available players at the end of this game. So I'm not freaking out about Giddey going back out there. That's not on Billy. So, and yeah, points do matter, but like I said, after this L, it's pretty much almost impossible for the Bulls to get to the NBA Cup or get to the second round of this. So it's okay. What a failed night for both Chicago teams. 9-3 Hawks lose. Bulls go 140 burger. Good grief. Oh man, I did not know the Hawks lost that badly. That sucks. He just has our number. I mean, you can maybe say that. I give a lot of credit to Eric Spoelstra. I think Eric Spoelstra is an insanely good coach. And I know that the Heat they lost all 3 games to the Bulls last season in the regular season, but obviously when it mattered in the play-in tournament, the Heat absolutely destroyed us. So, Spoelstra, I think, is just insanely good. Like, I think he's very clearly just a better coach than Donovan is. But Spoelstra, man, like the change that the Miami Heat have done this entire season, like it's not the same Miami Heat from last season either, and that's without Jimmy Butler post deadline. It's a completely new Miami Heat team. They're missing Tyler Hero, Andrew Wiggins, and Nikola Jovic tonight, and they looked like by far the better squad on the floor. It looked like it wasn't even close. So I'm very much aware of the certain circumstances that did happen tonight, but I want to remind everybody that the Bulls went into halftime down by 18, and no one was injured at that point. So I don't want to. I honestly just, like, if you're going to talk about the injuries being the reason why we lost this game, I disagree with you here. They're part of the reason why we lost by 4, by about 40 tonight. But they're not the reason why we lost this game. Like, we lost this game pretty much way beforehand, before the injuries hit. I'm sorry, I don't want to hear about fatigue when it comes to this team. I know that Stacey King's talking about, we played a lot of games, we were just on the West Coast strip, and yeah, I'm very much aware that is the case, but, I thought that fatigue was going to be a serious issue against the Denver Nuggets, and we went out and won that game in Denver. This team has consistently talked about that they had the strength of numbers, they had the depth, and it wasn't showing in that first half. And again, no one was injured or ejected or in that first half or fouled out in that first half. So I really just think that the Bulls just got straight out outplayed today, just straight up. The Heat showed they were the better team. The defense is just a serious issue right now, and as much as people don't want to admit it, the defense is a serious issue at this current moment in time. And in these past 2 games, in these past 2 games, the offensive rebounding for the opposing team has been a massive issue. Okay, that's not fatigue. That's not we're missing some guys due to injury. That's not because of that. Okay, that is straight up, no, we are not doing a good enough job. Okay, that is just straight. You're not doing enough work on the defensive glass, boxing out and getting the defensive rebound. Okay. This team, when it comes to the defensive end, they gave us 70 points in the first half. Again, no one was injured at that point. No one was fouled out due to injury. No one was ejected. Okay, 70 points given up in the first half. That is unacceptable. I don't want to hear that injuries and everything. Yeah, I'm very much aware injuries are happening right now, and we'll talk about it. But this is a problem right now. So remember you saying our rebounding is fine. I have been adamant though that the stats have shown that. But it's been terrible these past 2 games. I was even saying salty solution when the Bulls were on their losing streak that I thought the rebounding was terrible, but the numbers actually show we were better rebounding in our losses than our wins. So, that's not me. That was the stats saying it. It wasn't just me. So if you want to say, oh, I gotcha moment, hey, you can try to be that way, but I'm not here for that. I think the rebounding is a serious issue right now in these past 2 games, and the numbers before that though didn't say that. And I was looking for any way possible to say, yeah, the Bulls were giving up too many offensive rebounds, and the numbers didn't say that. This numbers said we're perfectly fine. So, but seriously, these last 2 games though have not been good, and this is unacceptable. So, this is gonna have to be something addressed here. I know that we're in the middle of a lot of games, back to backs and everything, but Philly's gonna have to take a practice day and just have guys do rebounding drills, because I'm seeing guys where I'm just like, how the hell did you not get this rebound? You're not boxing guys out. You had the positioning and you still lost the rebounding battle. This is just unacceptable from these guys. And I'm very disappointed to see this, because this is something that with this current team, you can't have this issue moving forward. When it comes to this team, this just cannot happen. If you're wondering about our numbers, and this is not including tonight's L, as we were now 8-7, so it still says we're 8-6. But our defensive rebounding was still top 10 even after that Portland game. Okay, so it's been pretty good throughout most of the year. And I'll even go ahead and say, let's just get rid of the Portland game here for a second. Let's just look at the overall rebounding numbers post Portland game, or before Portland game, I should say, excuse me. But Bulls have been consistently pretty solid, so I'm honestly just, we were up here. So this is before the Portland game happened. I'm very clear the Portland game tanked our numbers. So these last 2 games are unacceptable. You give a 15 offensive rebounds tonight to the Miami Heat, who are not the biggest team. They don't play that big. And I'm aware that Kalel Ware is out there, but you should be better overall. And the Heat had a lot of second chance points just in the first half alone, and they ended today with 26 second chance opportunities. So this just is a serious issue that everyone needs to get figured out. Coaching staff, players, etc. This needs to get figured out. So not sure what it's gonna take, but this is gonna have to be a day. It's not gonna be tomorrow, obviously, but the Bulls are gonna have a 3-day break from Tuesday through Thursday, which is Thanksgiving. And so I think that you need to take that Wednesday before Thanksgiving and get a practice in before everyone heads off for a holiday. So Not sure how that's all going to work out with all, with the players and everything like that, but you need to take that day and you got to do a practice with the rebounding. This is unacceptable with what we saw tonight. There's a rebounding effort. Other things that we need to talk about, because this is something that I don't know what Billy's trying to do, but if you guys watch this game, and I'll bring it up. I know that maybe some people maybe checked out of this one, which I don't blame you, but the Bulls were running a 3-2 zone today, and I'm just like, holy shit! Like I don't love it. Like Billy was adamant in his in this season, talking about the fact that we are not going to be running gimmicks this season for our defense, because we have to just man up and just be better. And here I am watching this team start the second quarter with a 3-2 zone. Julian Phillips is at the top of the key here. You're putting like Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips, guys with lengthier wingspans, out at the top of the key. And I'm like, what happened to, no, we're gonna man up and like just be better defensively. We have to just by ourselves individually just be better defenders. And all of a sudden now, right, we're all of a sudden like, oh, screw that, like we can't defend Miami, we're just gonna go into a 3-2 zone, I guess. This just didn't make any sense to me. I was not happy with this idea of a 3-2 zone. So we saw the 3-2 zone through a good portion of that second quarter, and I was not happy with it. If you're wondering how the second quarter went, it wasn't pretty. Bulls got mostly wrecked on offense. This was a serious issue, but we also gave up 34 points in the quarter, which is not good. So I'm not happy with Billy when it comes to this. I'm not here for the 3-2 zone. I'm very much aware that zone is a part of this league right now with certain teams, but there could definitely be better options than what we saw tonight specifically. I'm all for trying to get creative with like zone defense. Like I'm all for it, but I really do think that when it comes to this specific team, because of your lack of perimeter players that can actually defend and have an actual wingspan, I don't think zone's really that much of an option. I really think that you just have to just say, look, bro, we just have to just be better defensively. You have to just give more effort, fight over screens better, and just be better defensively. There just really isn't a reason to be running a zone, but maybe we can figure it out. Like, I know there's like triangle and twos out there. There's box and ones. Like, maybe something like that can be better. I can maybe be a little bit more convinced about a box and one, because that will leave one lengthier defender out as the one, and then you have four other guys behind. But I really don't think this team has it in them. So especially with not playing a Sengue, like there's just you're limited in your options there. So I'm really trying to see if there's just other options defensively, but I don't really think there is. I really do think that Billy needs to just say, all right, you guys just have to play better. Because unfortunately, this team defensively has been horrific in the month of November. Even in our wins, like in that Portland win, it was not good defense. That Nuggets win, that was not good defense. Okay. This team has been horrific defensively this month, and it's continuing with an even more horrible night tonight. So I'm gonna be I mean, we're bottom 10. This is without the Miami game tonight. We're bottom 10 defensive rating for this month. I'm gonna be just like, if we're gonna be breaking down some film tonight, I'll show you what we need to break down, but I think it's pretty obvious that the effort just isn't there tonight. Now, last before I go back to chat here, I was very shocked that Kobe was not playing in this game. It does seem like right now that the plan is that it's going to be like they're just trying to get him every 2 days, then he plays. I honestly don't understand that, because he looked just fine against Utah and he played extra minutes, and then he looked just fine against Portland, and he was huge in that game. I honestly don't understand why he's not playing today versus playing in against Washington tomorrow. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I genuinely do not understand that, but I'm not the medical staff. They have more information than me. Maybe he was feeling really sore or something. I'm not sure, but just not playing Kobe today is honestly just the most ridiculous thing to me, because Miami here are very clearly a better team, and you saw today when it came to the Bulls offense, especially in that second quarter, that the Bulls were really struggling with Miami's switch everything defense. And it's because the Bulls have relied on the opposing team to kind of have to play a certain pick and roll defense, or maybe not exactly switch screens on off ball, to try to create some sort of advantage for this team, right? Just try to create some sort of advantage in the offense, because this team is a eats everything offense, or everybody eats offense, excuse me. So, you know, if we're going to be playing the sole team offense, then it relies on these guys to, you know, move well, move the ball well, to try to create advantages and try to get drives to the paint. And the switch everything defense killed the Bulls offense today. You know, this is where Kobe White is very much needed in this Bulls team, because he is a guy that can, not saying is always trustworthy, but can break down defenses one-on-one, like break down mismatches. And, you know, when we see guys like Bam Adebayo out on the perimeter guarding all the guards, it's just like, you would wish that he had Kobe White here today to try to ISO that mismatch and try to see if he could use his speed to get by Bam Adebayo and force the defense to rotate. But unfortunately, that is just not possible tonight, because we decided to not play Kobe White tonight, but play him against Washington tomorrow. So maybe we're going to really need Kobe White tomorrow, because the Bulls actually do play down to their competition. Like, that is a serious issue. But I would much rather have seen Kobe White play today and sit him tomorrow. So he's very much missed. Now, here's the thing, though. You can't just rely on Kobe to be the only guy that has the ability to break down guys. Like, I think, you know, Giddey did an okay job today, but he's got to find a way to really take advantage of mismatches when they're there. You know, a lot of his points were kind of at the free throw line tonight, and I'm just like, that's great, but like it wasn't like it was doing anything really today. And that's on everybody, but these guys are going to have to, these ball handlers, like, your job is to take advantage of mismatches, and it's tough. I'm aware that Giddey's probably not gonna be the guy to really do that, but if everyone's in on it, then I gotta find a way for you to get some sort of advantage when a bigger guy's playing you. So that was very much on display today. Bam Adebayo guarding Giddey is just like it's a really good option for Miami, and they don't start the possession that way. And you saw probably at the start of the third quarter that the Bulls were trying to post up Vooch, and we've talked about a lot on this channel how posting on Vucevic is just not that effective. And you saw it on full display tonight, that even when the Bulls were even able to get the post entry to Vooch, that Miami is just too good defensively, and posting up is just not that effective, especially for a guy that doesn't really score that well. Vooch also just was not doing a good job of trying to get good positioning. Therefore, he wasn't getting the ball, you know, right near the paint. He was maybe getting the ball 18 feet out or more. And that's just ineffective. It's just an ineffective post up at that moment. So I'm very much just like, guys, like, first and foremost, the post up is just like, I'm not here for it. I think it's a pretty stupid idea. The one chance he had to post up Kelly Oubre, he missed the hook shot. And I'm just like, okay, like, I'm good, honestly. But it's on these perimeter guys. If, you know, Vucevic is not going to do his job, then it's going to be on the perimeter guys. Or Vooch is going to have to do a better job of trying to seal his man down low, get better positioning, and so that he could be a bigger target down low and force the defense to have to react to it. But Miami's very good at preventing those options, because they have a switch everything defense that they've worked on, and so they're ready for when there's a mismatch in the post and there's a big guy that is being guarded by a small guy. They have protocols. So Bulls are going to have to, next time they play Miami, they're going to have be ready for these protocols to be hitting them and adjust to them and figure out ways to take advantage of these mismatches that are on the floor. But, you know, that's for the next day. So I'm done with my spiel. Like I said, I do not think that tonight is about, fatigue, injuries, or anything like that. Again, the Bulls were down by 18 points, giving up 70 points in the first half at halftime, okay? That's before Buzelis got injured. That's before Kohler got injured. That's before Herter got ejected. All right. I'm not here for the talk of like, you know, there's all these situations that happen tonight. There are a lot of situations that did happen tonight, but that's not the reason why the Bulls lost. It's part of the reason why the Bulls lost by maybe 40, but it's not the reason why the Bulls lost this game, and the Bulls have to be better overall as a team. So I'm not pleased with tonight on many aspects. Again, I talked about Billy, and like, I'm pretty pissed off at Billy for not trying to protect Herter more and not yelling at Tony Brothers, but Billy seems to not really be that sort of head coach, except when he is deciding to bench Buzelis or rookies. So Billy's hot when he decides to bench his, young players, but won't get hot when the officials make a pretty stupid call against one of his own players that are rotation players and vets who have never been one of those players to be malicious in any sort of way to officials. So don't really understand that, but that's not for me to decide. Bulls fan needs to accept the Heat are a better franchise. I would hope that most people would understand that, but I don't know. I guess maybe some people don't believe that. I know that a lot of people were thinking we're going to really beat the Heat today, and yikes. So, I had some faith that the Bulls can maybe try to show up and give a good game, but this Miami Heat team is no joke right now, and this is without Tyler Hero playing a minute. So, I think this Heat team is pretty solid, honestly. Convinced me why I should keep League Pass after this sort of effort. Well, if you're a Bulls fanatic like me who is just diehard, I think that is just honestly enough. Like, I think as stupid as it does sound sometimes for me or not others to be supporting this team, like it's just in our blood, right? So I think that's always like the biggest reason. But if there's any other reason, I think it's that you need to be. I know that Buzelis is potentially out here, but Kobe should be playing tomorrow, and Giddey obviously should be playing tomorrow. So if you're interested in that backcourt developing, then I think that you should keep League Pass and continue watching the team. But if you decide not to, then it's all the right to you. I'm not here to try to convince you to stay a fan or anything like that. But because I mean, if you've asked me about this team, like I've been adamant that I don't really have high hopes for this team, not just for now but for the future. Like I really don't have that high of hopes, but. So like, I'm not gonna be here to convince you like, oh, this is a great team or not. Like, there's many other channels that you can go to right now that talk about this team like being like a step away from contention. So if you want to go listen to those channels, then go ahead. I would recommend not listening to those channels though. That's just my opinion. But yeah, effort tonight was unacceptable, just straight up. First half, unacceptable effort. Offense was just getting screwed. They didn't know what to do. They just lost in their head trying to attack this Miami defense. And defensively, man, like this team has to find a way to be better at protecting the paint. We cannot continue letting teams just come in and just destroy us in the paint. This is not going to work for the Bulls moving forward. Okay, this just cannot happen. And honestly, this is honestly pretty low. The Bulls gave up 16 points in the paint in the first quarter alone. So I think this is honestly pretty graceful for the Miami. But this just can't continue. It just can't. And I think a lot of these points that maybe aren't really here, but they were found here, right? I saw some Bulls fans talking about the officiating today, and yes, Tony Brothers was absolutely stupid for ejecting Kevin Huerter tonight. Like I completely agree with that, but do not tell me that the Bulls were called for a bunch of bullshit fouls tonight, and Miami Heat were not called for a bunch of fouls that they should be called for. Like. The reason why the Bulls are fouling tonight is because their defense is garbage. Like, no one was staying in front of their man, and that's the entire Miami Heat offense. Miami doesn't run pick and rolls, okay? Miami has the most drives per game. That's what they do. They drive against their one defender because they don't want to bring another defender to the ball on a pick and roll. So they just drive against whoever, and the guys are not doing a good enough job staying in front of their man. Therefore, you have to resort to fouling. Also, offensive rebounds given up. It ends up sometimes for us, you have to foul to prevent them from getting an easy layup out of it or an easy three-point shot. I think that honestly, like, the free throw discrepancy is obviously big, but I thought Miami honestly deserved a lot of the free throws tonight. You can't tell me that the Bulls defense was fine and they got screwed over by the officials today. Like, you can't tell me that. The Bulls defense was flat out awful tonight, and they resorted to fouling instead of trying to actually stay in front of their man. That's on them. That's on the officials. That's on them. Okay. And again, if you want to talk about fatigue, I'm just gonna keep saying it. Like, this team is talking about strength in numbers all season long, so I really don't care about fatigue right now. No one, like, Miami's not gonna be sorry for you when it comes to this game. They're here to win. No one's gonna be sorry for you. So, and you shouldn't be sorry for any opponents that are missing guys, hence, that Pistons game. It's just like, you need to go out and win that game against the Pistons. Yeah, like, no one's gonna be feeling sorry for you tonight, and I want to make that clear. This Bulls team should have given a better effort tonight. I'm not saying they should have won tonight, but it should have been a better effort tonight, especially defensively, and then offensively, we gotta figure out some stuff. There's gotta be a little more creativity in the offense, to help these guys a little bit, but It would help if Vucevic can, play good in back-to-back games. It's been a while since we've seen that from him. It just feels like we're getting maybe like a decent game and a bad game, and then a really good game and a horrible game. So it would really help, if our 35-year-old vet center that seems to be very, very much valued in this franchise would kind of, show up and play consistently in back-to-back games in November, because it just really hasn't been that way this month. And it would also really help if Kobe White was here today, which I just don't understand why Kobe wasn't playing today. It doesn't make any sense. I suppose probably the best coach in the league. It's definitely debatable. I think there's some pretty good head coaches, and I don't know if I had Spoelstra first, but he's definitely up there, at least among my top 5 coaches in the league right now. Injuries aren't an excuse for giving 140 when we can give up that amount when healthy. I agree. I completely agree with you, Ryan. I already talked to you about this salty solution. Play man Billy, this isn't Gainesville, but get Horace Grant out there. Honestly, Horace Grant probably would have prevented at least 2 offensive rebounds tonight. Yeah, that would have been helpful. Mine going to a 20-point run and Billy Gumovin not calling a timeout, masterful coaching. That run from Miami in the second quarter, I was pretty pissed off with Billy. He kind of allowed that run to happen with that 3-2 zone that was really ineffective tonight, but the offense just was not doing anything, and it would, preventing a run, it would really help it if you could not let Miami get out in transition if you just made some shots. And Billy just was not willing to do anything about it. So I do think Billy deserves a lot of criticism tonight. I know a lot of people are blaming the players, and deservedly so. I think the players absolutely deserve a ton of criticism tonight. But I think Billy was pretty awful tonight on a lot of accounts, and that's just one of them. I'll just sucker punch OKC for 12 points in 7 minutes to have the Jazz up so far. That's impressive, honestly, but we will see how that game actually ends up going. Vooch did not steal for passes at all in smaller matches, which is insane. Like, he had Davion Mitchell on him one time, and he just didn't seal his man. Unacceptable from Vooch. Like, that to me is just one of those things that really pisses me off, because it's just like, people try to talk about how Vooch is so great as being an example, and he comes out and shows, like, this is how we have to do things, lead by example, and yet here he is not putting in the effort on the offensive end, okay, not the defensive end, the offensive end, to not seal his man down low, and when he has a guard on him. Pretty disappointing, honestly. I'm aware that guards get away with a lot of things in the post because they're smaller, but like, you just, again, you're 6'10", bro. Just post them up. Mitchell's six foot. You got to find a way to get good positioning. I don't care if Mitchell is doing all these like little tactics that are really annoying and should probably be called fouls. Like, you have to go out there and just be better. And he was just, again, not here for it. Brothers might be mayor in Norfolk eventually, so if that happens, we may be rid of him. I hope that we eventually do get rid of him, because I cannot stand Tony Brothers. He pisses me off a lot. So yeah, I've been adamant that officials need to be punished. Like, that is something that I've been adamant about for like the last 5 years. If an official makes a stupid call or a bad mistake or a blatantly obvious miscall, okay, that is not doing your job. And in any other job, you get punished for not doing your job, okay? So I think that Tony Brothers should be either fined or given some sort of consequence for the terrible decision he made to eject Kevin Huerter for what happened tonight. Huerter deserved a tech, okay? I think I'm totally fine with Huerter getting a tech there, because he did push the ball towards the officials, who, yes, was not looking, okay? But, like, I can understand the tech. I'm not going to fight it. Like, I think a lot of people think that even a tech wasn't even necessary, and that's fine. But I think that in that sort of situation, I can be okay with the tech, but the ejection is ridiculous. That is just flat out stupid, and if it was up to me, I am punishing Tony Brothers and saying that you are not officiating for like 2 weeks. But that's not how this goes. The officials have a union, and they're basically, at least from what I have heard, they're basically void of punishment. So I'm pretty pissed off about that. I think officials who do some terrible jobs, like, they deserve punishment. They should be fined. Like, I don't know, but yeah, it won't happen, unfortunately. Stacey asking for that pass needs to also call out Vooch out too for the setup. 100%. Like, it's always that the guys don't find Vucevic, but it's like Vucevic needs to actually set himself up properly to get the ball in the post, and Vooch was not giving a good enough effort tonight. So why should I give it to him? For my spots, feel Okoro played one of his better games due to off-ball movement. I think Okoro honestly did play a pretty decent game tonight before he got injured. But yeah, it's unfortunately he got injured today, so it's a low back injury apparently. I thought it was gonna be his hamstring with the way he came out gimpy, but yeah, besides his free throws, which he was injured for, I think Coro did pretty solid today. Nice cuts and screen fakes. Yeah, I agree. Giddey played solid as well. Yeah, I think Giddey, this is obviously better than the Portland game. I appreciate what he tried to do today. I do think he still needs to really improve his ability to get one-on-one matchups, but the rebounding was spectacular from Giddey today. I'm not here to criticize that at all. I think he honestly did pretty good. So I appreciate that from Giddey. Early on, I think Giddey did a good job of spraying the ball on offense. But once Miami started doing the switch everything, like he started to have some issues because Miami was just willing to let Bam or Kel'el Ware or whoever out there guarding him one-on-one. Like, they're fine with it. So, Giddey drew some fouls, and I give him credit for it. But it was hard for him to score once they started to do that. And I'm looking to see if Giddey can find a way to get the ability to score in those situations or improve on those moments. But it's the loss. I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, we lost the game because of that. But it's a roster construction issue as a whole. But I do think Giddey needs to find ways to improve on that. And I'm not really sure what that's gonna take from him. Like, I know it's like, pull up jumper is always like the first thing, but I don't know if that's ever gonna be in his bag. But there might be honestly some different situations where you can like put Giddey in, like, if let's say he has a big guarding him, then like you kind of bring a small over or something to set like a slip screen and see if that can maybe get the defense kind of in a weird spot. But yeah, it was pretty rough once, and then rough for everybody, I should say, once Miami started to do switch everything, and it felt like no one could generate any sort of offensive advantage, and that really sucked. I feel like nobody else turned up at all. I agree, especially defensively. No one else really turned up. Guys didn't want to make their threes tonight either, so really rough on offense. They sent out a few bits. Smith played pretty well, I think, in that first half. Didn't really do much after, though. Yeah. Boudris is really hilarious, man. He's literally like a center bum slayer. It's honestly ridiculous, bro. Like I honestly just don't know what to talk about with Vooch, because like there's been some posts, if you watched or if you've been looking at Twitter recently, like there's been some posts about how Vucevic's like career numbers are like, actually pretty good, and like there's actually like a decent chance Vucevic goes into like a Hall of Fame all of a sudden now, because like his like overall career numbers are like the only two people that have ever done like these numbers is Nikola Jokic and LeBron James or whatever it was. And I'll pull up the tweet when I'll show in a second here, but it's just like, it's one of those situations to me where I'm like, I think Vooch is like just good moments are just past him, and we have to just be real with what we've seen recently. Like, yeah, that Portland Trailblazers game was very good from him. Don't get me wrong, but like, we've also seen in November, like, these sort of games where he's just ineffective. And I'm not happy with it. So, sorry, I'm trying to find a tweet here. So, yeah. I don't know, man. It's just, there's a lot of people praising Vooch, and I'm like, this is not one of those games. Like, this is one of those games where it just shows that Vooch, to me, is ineffective a lot. Especially when you're trying to post him up on offense. Like, I understand if he has a mismatch, he's supposed to do that. But like, he just doesn't work hard enough to get those mismatches. Like, it's just so frustrating to watch. It's not on these other guys. Like, we have plenty of good passers. We've seen good passing from this team all season long. So you can't tell me, oh, these guys are incapable of passing it to Vucevic. That's just not an argument to me. It is just flat out just terrible from what we've seen from this team, or from Vucevic, when it comes to trying to post up guys, and that's on nobody but him. All right, hold on. I'm trying to find this tweet that I want to show you guys, because it's honestly pretty ridiculous with what we're looking at here. I'm taking too much time. God, why can't I find it? And I know, hold on, I got it. Oh, sorry, it's LeBron and Dirk, I guess. My bad. I thought it was LeBron and Jokic. Okay, but like, here's the stats. Like, it's honestly just it is nuts to look at this. Like, I give Vooch a lot of credit for his sustainability on the court. Like, he's always been available. Like, he doesn't really get injured, and especially in today's game, like that's pretty valuable. I appreciate that. But like, he's probably gonna join this club, and the only two guys in this club are LeBron and Dirk. It's just like, okay. And then it's, if you guys don't know Don Lon, but like, he's Hall of Fame. And it's like, it's honestly like, there's like a kind of an argument for it. And I'm like, I hate it because I don't think he's had a Hall of Fame career. He might be Hall of very good if he actually gets those numbers one day, but it's just like, I don't know. It's really just a weird career, honestly, to look at. But I don't know. It's a good showing of how he's been very healthy is most of his career, and he deserves a lot of praise for that, for sure. Let's make a call for Davis. Absolutely not. We're not making a call for Davis, and the Mavs have made it clear that they're not trading Davis. So I think the talk about Davis should end now. They're not one step away from contention. Seems like you and Hayes are realistic about it. So I think Hayes is more positive about the Bulls than I am. Let me be clear. I think Hayes is very much more positive about the Bulls than I am. I am very much more negative about the Bulls compared to him. But there's certain people that are in the Bulls community right now that are content creators that are like, oh, we're in a great spot. Like, we're gonna be going places and everything. I'm like, I'm not here for it. Like, the way that they talk about, like, the Eastern Conference is so weak and they think that the Bulls are gonna go on a run soon. I'm like, okay. Like, the Eastern Conference is severely weak right now, and there's a lot of guys out, and the Bulls right now are still not out of the plan. They were just recently out of the plan before tonight's game, but they're no longer out of the plan. They are now back down to 9th. We got some help today with the Boston Celtics losing. So I'm personally not in agreement with those guys that think like, oh, the Bulls can really make some noise with the East being so weak. And yes, Giannis is currently out. Brunson is missing games. Embiid is out. Trae Young is out. Okay, Darius Garland is currently missing games. Right. Kate Cunningham and Jalen Durham also missed games, and the Pistons are still rolling. Okay, Banchero is out. Giannis is out. Okay, and obviously Tatum and Halliburton are also out. But even with that being said, the Bulls are still hovering around 500. Okay, and we can't beat the Miami Heat, who have no Tyler Hero tonight. Like, I don't know. I look at this team and I'm like, I applaud people for being positive and more positive than I am when it comes to this roster, but I am aware that we have also dealt with our own share of issues, but I have just listed all the other injuries in the Eastern Conference right now. So it's not like we're the only team dealing with issues, guys. And I'm pretty pissed off that when we see a Miami Heat team without their all-star and without Andrew Wiggins and without Jovic, and we get absolutely wrecked in that first half when there were no injuries happening. Like, it's pretty disappointing. It's pretty disappointing on a lot of guys. Yes, Kobe's not playing today, and he would have definitely helped. But, I mean, the Miami Heat just very clearly showed that, like, they were just a better team today. And again, the Heat did not have Tyler Hero tonight. So if you think that this Heat team just got kind of lucky without Kobe, I'm like, well, Tyler Hero hasn't played a minute yet. So I just, once again, it's pointing out that, like, if you want to tell me that injuries or anything like that is like, oh, this is what's hurting the Bulls right now, I have listed a bunch of injuries in the Eastern Conference right now that all these teams are going through. Like, this Bulls team is talking about strength in numbers, so I want to see strength in numbers, and we've seen some moments of it, but it's not like this amazing level that some Bulls fans have talked about, how like this team is like amazing 1 through 15. That's just not the case. And I think that needs to be addressed. Like, we have to just be real with ourselves about it. Ownership is too risk averse, but again, I don't want Anthony Davis anyway. Atto's going to have a tough time going up against Bam, who's one of the best two-way bigs in the game. But it wasn't just Bam tonight; it was also Kel'el Ware. Montes had some issues against some of the guards tonight, so it's on many different issues for Montes. But I mean, once the injury happened, it was pretty raps for him. I didn't see postgame, but I'm sure Gumavin had a good explanation for what happened. That's what he does best. I did not also see postgame. I'm sure that we can check Twitter right now. Julio Poe, Casey Johnson, Will Gottlieb, and others are probably on the scene, but yeah, I'm not really here for to hear about Billy Donovan and co. Now, if you want to talk about that Herta got ejected. Okay, sure, but I just don't care. Bulls were getting wrecked at that point anyway. He won't make any changes, but he's always so eloquent when explaining what went wrong. That is very true. Billy Donovan is very good with the media. Yeah. I think honestly that is probably why the media box gives him like not a hard time, because he's pretty good with the media. Honestly, he's very good with them. So, they get a lot of good sound bites for him, and that helps the media do their job, which I don't blame him for, because I was also in that situation before. I've been doing media work, but yeah. Miami's peak next man up mentality of a team historically, depth and mentality from the best coach is very hard to pin down, and it depends on what at minutes and on what kind of team. Yeah, it's hard to kind of pin down who the best coach is, but Eric Spoelstra is definitely my top 5. This man is a absolute genius when it comes to certain things, and I think Eric Spoelstra has done a lot with a lot less, and to see him be flexible, to be willing to change his offense and bring in a new assistant to come in and change his offense completely, like, I give him a lot of props for that. For a guy who has won multiple championships and has been the Heat head coach for more than a decade, like it's that takes a lot to convince a guy who has been at the very top to, like, hey, we need to change our offense, right? Like, you've run an offense for a while and it's worked, but with this current roster that we have on our team, like, we need to change our offense and we need to go with this. And it's been the best offense so far in the league this season, and I give him a lot of praise for being willing to change that. And letting someone else come in who I keep forgetting his name, and I was tweeted at his name in the middle of the game, so I sincerely apologize, but I'm gonna give him his flowers tonight for what he's done. But Noah LaRoche, he was the Memphis Grizzlies previous assistant coach, and Miami took him, and they've been incredible. Noah LaRoche deserves a lot of credit, and credit Eric Spoelstra for being willing to change. Like, I think that's important. Miami's always been insane at finding these shooters, right? And so having an offense built around pace, guys dribbling the basketball, and a lot of 3-point shooting at any given moment, like you can see on the floor tonight. Okay, everybody that played today for Miami, I think, took a 3 except for Jaime Jaquez, and he basically took a 3 tonight. Except for it was basically a long 2, right? But everybody on the floor from Miami, including Kel'el Ware, like, they all took a 3 tonight. That just shows that, like, they have a team that is built around 3-point shooting, and Fontecchio, who's been very good to start the season from 3-point range. He missed 9 tonight, but everyone can shoot the 3, everyone can drive. They don't run pick and rolls, and the fact that everyone at any moment can just drive and can beat their defender one-on-one is pretty impressive. So I give him a lot of credit. We say Kobe for the Derby versus the Wizards. Sarr is going to fly over Vucevic. I'm actually very interested in seeing how Alex Sarr is going to play. I'm also interested in seeing how Keyshawn George is going to be playing. The Bulls should be winning this game against the Washington. Like, they should absolutely be destroying them. But the Bulls played out to the competition, so I'm not going to be here to think that, oh, it's going to be an easy game for them. Like, I'm actually concerned. So Keyshawn George has had a hell of a season so far. Alex Sarr has made major leaps. And I'll be very interested to see how that's going to work out. I wouldn't be shocked if Alex Sarr absolutely destroys Vucevic tomorrow. But that's just on the coaching staff and the guys. They got to be better. My pick could be Mark Daigneault. Even people will have to only put him A tier. He makes players look good, partly and the no center needed time using guards on centers was peak for sure. I think Daigneault absolutely deserves his praise. It wasn't just the players for those games last season. It was a method to make up for such a mismatch. Yeah, Mark Daigneault did a great job last season when Holmgren went out. We saw Isaiah Hartenstein was injured. And so they basically just had, like, no one at center. They put Caruso at center, and it worked out. They did a good job. If I want ref punishment, it's probably needed to be based on the post-game reviews, calls, and works out what percentage they missed or miscalled. And so here's the thing when it comes to refs or officials being punished, okay? I understand when it comes to, like, there's bang calls. Like, sometimes officials won't have an angle. Like, I'm okay with that stuff. Like, if they get it wrong, that's okay. It's just part of the game. I'm talking about, though, when it's just like there's a very blatant, obvious play where someone very clearly had the ball in their hands and they stepped out of bounds, okay? But the official didn't call it, and they're right there staring at it, okay? Like, to me, that's what I term as a blatantly obvious call that was missed. That to me is what I think you deserve punishment. And it's, if you rack up those a ton, like, that's when it's like, no, you got to be fired or something. Like, you're not doing your job. You saw someone step out of bounds with the basketball in their hands and you're not calling it. Like, that's on the official. That's on them only. They need to be punished because they're not doing their job, because they're clearly not making the correct call when it's very obvious to them. Again, there's bang bang calls, like, you know, like, there's gonna be things where it's like it's 50-50s and stuff like that. That's fine. Like, you know, if they happen to get the call wrong, that's okay. I'm not here to criticize that. I'm just here specifically though when it comes to very obviously missed calls and the entire rest of the world could see that was the wrong call and you're staring right at it and you still call it wrong. That to me is when there needs to be some sort of action. But that's not possible. The officials have their union, and deservedly so, but I think that it's either that whoever is teaching these officials have to be better, or whoever's in charge of the officials overall, like they have to hold these guys to a higher standard. Because you guys remember in opening night, right? Kevin Durant called a timeout when the Rockets had no timeouts left, and everybody in the damn arena and the damn world that was watching the game, everybody in the arena saw it. All three officials were staring at Kevin Durant when that happened, okay? And nothing was called. They didn't call it. They didn't acknowledge the timeout when Zach Zarba was staring right at Kevin Durant when he called the timeout. And that to me is falling under a blatantly obvious miscall. And that to me is unacceptable to see that the officials didn't acknowledge it. And all three of them were staring at it. And Zach Zarba is like 3 feet away from it and watching Kevin Durant call the timeout. That to me is unacceptable. That's the type of shit that I'm like, no, we cannot let you just go and officiate the next game. That is unacceptable. You need to be punished in some sort of fashion. And I know that these officials get paid on a per game basis, so you need to go and get punished, or like you have to miss a game or something like that. We can't have that. Like, this is how you make sure that these guys are giving you the best officiating possible, because it's to make sure they get paid a good amount of money, right? That's important. So that to me is important when it comes to this sort of stuff. I know that some people are going to be disagreeing with me. I think officials should be fined. That's never going to happen, but yeah. Tony Brothers is the Ed Hightower of the NBA, always making games about himself. I hate Tony Brothers a lot, man. I despise him. He definitely makes a game about himself. He takes things way too personally that have, like, it's like, bro, like, this has nothing to do with you. Like, in fact, he ejected Kevin Huerter is ridiculous tonight. But if you track it as a percentage of calls / missed calls and maybe a scale, then you'd see how separate they may be. Maybe, yeah. Horrific what's going on, Delbert, yeah. We're in an era where you got like 50, 60 cameras in every arena, replay monitors, challenges, etc. Yeah, somehow the Zebras keep getting away with murder. Pretty insane. It is pretty insane, honestly. Yeah, I'm pretty pissed off about it. I'm aware that, you know, the NBA wants to keep the game going, so they want to limit the replays, but there's gotta be some stuff though where it's just like, yo, we gotta be better, guys. Like, we can be better as officials, please. Pelicans had 4 20-point scorers on tonight and still lost. That is disgustingly bad. God, man, they don't have their own pick this season. Ugh. I think slips in changing it, depending on if they put a guard or a big on Giddy, it has to create some advantage potential somewhere when it's done. I agree with the Giddy ISO or just creation advantage. Vooch is a very poor man's Jokic. I mean, a very, very, very poor, right? Because to me, a poor man's Jokic is what Şengün's doing, okay? Like, Şengün's not MVP level, but he's all-star level. So he's a poor man's Jokic in that sort of sense. Vooch is not even that at this point. Like, he's not an all-star. He's playing like an all-star to start the year. That's gone away. So, very much to me, he's a very, very, very poor man's Jokic, like you said, Woodage, yeah. I meant Hall of Shame. To be fair, Vooch gets called for fouls when he seals a smaller physical defender because it looks like a big dude beating up on a small dude. I guess the refs feel bad for them or something. I mean, even if that is the case, Vooch does not pick up enough fouls throughout the game for him to be in foul trouble. So if he picks up 2 of those a game, then, like, just keep doing it, because that's just going to establish, like, he's trying to get post-up position and they have to pay more attention to it. And so if, like, you know, if they called offensive fouls a couple times and they're going to pay more attention to it, be like, okay, maybe I was wrong about that. Like, again, he doesn't pick up enough fouls throughout the game for this to be an issue. So just keep doing it. Post them up. If you get called for an offensive foul, do it again. Like, I don't understand why we're so afraid of it all of a sudden. And again, And here's the other thing, if you're wondering, Kay, I honestly am totally fine if he's not posting guys up at all. I think him on the perimeter is honestly the best case scenario for this team. Okay, like Vucevic on a spot up is just much more better as a player than him posting up anybody. So like him spotting up is totally fine with me. But you know, in a game like tonight, a lot of people were talking about, oh, well, we need to post up Vooch though, and it's just like, okay, well, he had many opportunities to post up the smaller guys, and he just didn't fight for position. He just was trying to get it on the perimeter, or we saw like Norman Powell was basically like, you know, playing top side and saying, no, you're not going to get it. And Vooch wasn't trying to get better position on that. So to me, it's just like, all right, well, if you're not going to give us the effort to get in good position, then I'm not throwing it to you. You stay on the perimeter and just be a jump shooter, because that's honestly what you bring to the offense anyway. So just leave it there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pissed off with just how I would just like talked about like Stacey King is just like, yo, posting up is still good. Yeah. Not with Vucevic. For what, one first round exit or his other two first round exit with the Magic? Yeah, I honestly, if Vucevic is actually like, if Vucevic is in the Hall of Fame, I have some questions. But like it's ridiculous. Like I'm saying, like these numbers are honestly like they're pretty impressive, but he should not be in the Hall of Fame. But who knows? Very clearly, the Bulls really think he's pretty valuable even at this stage of his career. So who knows how that's gonna be viewed. If Joe's jersey isn't retired, then no one else's jersey is ever going to get retired again. Rose could be the last one to go up on the rafters. That might honestly be, that might be the case. I hope it's not, but it might be the case, yeah. Yeah, we never really know. They better retire Joe's number. I don't think they're going to, honestly. I think that they're not going to retire Joakim Noah's number. Yeah. Bulls need to retire Gilmore's number. I can agree with that. Star Power destroys Vuce. We will see. Yeah. Exact same thing happened in Bulls Cavs series when Black called a timeout and while having none available and Stevens just pretended like nothing happened. Yeah, like it's that sort of bullshit to me. Is just like, that is a massive call that you missed, okay, and you failed to do your job. That is 100% that those officials need to be punished in some sort of fashion. I don't care. Fine them $10,000, make him miss the next game, okay? Because again, they get paid on a per game basis. Like, I don't care what it's gonna take. But you need to make sure that these officials are more locked in, because we can't have this whole bullshit of just like, oh, we just didn't see it though. I'm like, okay, well, you not seeing it is also your fault. Like, that is on you guys. Yeah, that is you not doing your job, because if you're telling me, oh, we just didn't see it, it's just like, well, your job is to watch the game and call the game. So we just didn't see it. I'm like, okay, well, then you're not doing your job. So when the entire fucking world can see it and every person in the arena saw certain things, right? Like, then this is your issue. Like, this is on you guys. This is not on anyone else. Every player on the floor, when Kevin Durant called a timeout, every player on the floor knew he called a timeout. Every coach, every player on the bench knew that he called a timeout. Every fan in the arena knew he called a timeout. The broadcast knew he called a timeout, and every person watching knew he called a timeout, except for the three zebras on the floor. And Zach Zarba, again, is the closest of all people, except for the players on the floor, to seeing that Kevin Durant called a timeout, and he didn't call it. Like, that to me is ridiculous. Like, that is unacceptable. And tonight, for example, when it came to Kevin Huerter getting ejected, when very clearly he did not maliciously throw that ball towards the official, that is ridiculous, and Tony Brothers needs to be suspended or something. Like, that just cannot happen. Tony Brothers is an idiot, and he does not deserve to officiate his next game he's scheduled for. Tony Brothers, by the way, if you're wondering, Tony Brothers gets paid $500K a year from the NBA, okay? Like, assuming he officiates every game that he's supposed to officiate. So, like, this dude is getting paid a lot of money to officiate a game, and I genuinely do not give a flying fuck about him. Like, he's not important, right? Like, yes, officials are needed for the game to happen, but the game is not about him. And so the fact that he, for some reason, took the ball that Huerter threw to the official personally is pretty ridiculous. And was like, oh no, we need to get this guy out of the game. It's that vital for Kevin Huerter to be thrown out of the game. Like, that's ridiculous. He needs to be punished. So, I don't know. I'm pissed off about it tonight, but we have other things to be pissed off about. We're gonna go up 3-1 if they call that. Then LeBron hit the game winner. Yep. Tyler walked out onto the court and called for a timeout like 5 times, and I'll never forget that. Oh, we will never forget that. It's pretty awful, honestly. All right, a couple other things that I do want to talk about. So, I honestly was pretty confused. And then we're gonna go back to Billy Donovan criticism here, okay? So I want to show you guys this. Second quarter, okay? This is when the Miami Heat started to go on their big run, and so I'm gonna show you when Nikola Vucevic checks into the game here, and I'm just thinking to myself, okay, well, Miami's kind of got to a little bit of a lead here, right? We're talking about 43-35, and there's another free throw coming, okay? So Vooch basically checks in, and it's a 9-point game, and I'm not blaming everything on Vooch. Like, I blame it on a lot of guys here, okay? Because as you can see, it's just like, Core makes a shot, miss, turnover, Vuzelis, messed up here, missed layup, okay? Some subs, right? Missed 3-point shot. I thought, like, right here, when the game is officially at a 20-point game, that, like, Vooch needs to come out, because the pace from Miami was very clearly affecting him. He just can't keep up. And we think the Bulls play fast, right? Miami's been the leading team in pace this season, and Vooch was, one, just couldn't keep up the pace, but two, Miami was just targeting him on the defensive end, where it wasn't always that, like, the guy that he was guarding was driving, but they were basically saying, like, oh, well, if we drive and then Vooch is going to come over and help, like, he's not going to offer any sort of resistance, and he didn't. And, we're just going to get open looks at the rim, and they took advantage of it. Or they passed it back out for 3-point looks, right? I just, honestly, I thought this was the moment just to take out Vooch. Like, put back in Jalen Smith, who had a pretty good, decent run in his first stint. Like, I honestly don't understand why we need to keep Vooch out there, and it didn't get any better. It just kept getting worse. So, I was honestly pretty pissed off at that from Billy. I think this is one of those games, again, where Nikola Vucevic is not having that good of a game, and he's in sort of kind of like a weird spot on the floor because Miami plays they're a switch everything offense or defense, and he's not, like, it's not like you get that much of an advantage if a small guy's on Vucevic in this sort of game. And then on defense, Miami has 5 guys on the floor that can drive at all moments, and they can also all shoot the 3. So you can't really hide Vooch in a sense, and that's me being nice about, hiding Vooch. Like, he's the big man on the floor. He has to be the guy to come over to protect the rim, and he doesn't really even do that anyway. And so I'm just thinking to myself, like, why not play Jalen Smith? Like, Jalen Smith has been really good for like 3 weeks now, and I just think that this is one of those games where he's better with the pace. He is going to be a better overall rim protector, and I'm not saying he's a great rim protector or anything, but he's going to offer better rim resistance than Vucevic will. But you can also, in a sense, like, kind of switch things on defense better if necessary with him out there. And again, it's not like the ideal option, but I just thought it gives you better options than having Vucevic on the floor. But Billy left him out there for the entire rest of the second quarter, and that's when Miami just exploded with their lead. Didn't love that. Billy then, third quarter comes around, and, injuries start to hit and everything like that. But then the last time we see Vucevic, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is here. Like, I don't think we see him for the rest of the game. So, I don't know. It just feels like there's certain moments where I think Billy needs to kind of just think on the fly, instead of going to halftime and thinking about some of these adjustments. I think that you can kind of think on the fly and be like, yeah, Vooch is not having a good game. I think it wouldn't hurt the team to just kind of play Jalen Smith, who was very clearly more efficient at that moment in time, and he's going to be a little bit more fitting in better overall on the floor. He had 5 blocks tonight, by the way, so, I mean, hey, again, rim protection. But he'll fit in better on the floor overall. So I just don't understand why this took so long for Billy to kind of think about it, but at this point, though, it was basically as if the game was over. So, once again, I am here to say that, Billy had a great October with his coaching, and he's had pretty decent moments overall with his coaching in the season. But this November with Billy Donovan with his coaching has been pretty terrible. Not happy with a lot of the decisions he's made when it comes to lineups and personnel on the floor. I also didn't like the lineup he closed the first quarter with, if you're wondering about that lineup as well. So the first quarter lineup where the Miami Heat were able to, get their lead for the first quarter. But, like, I didn't like this lineup either. It was, Hewell came off the floor, and so did Herter. So it was Dalen Terry, it was Buzelis, which then he was replaced soon by Phillips. It was Jalen Smith, Io DeSumo, and it was Trey Jones, who I don't know, but you can just see he's on the floor clearly with this. But that lineup also to me didn't make any sense, because you're trying to, like, if that's gonna be your quote unquote second unit for the night, and I know Trey Jones, was doing, he's just got back, he's on a minutes restriction and everything, but like that lineup has no spacing. And I know Io's been insane from 3-point range to start the season, but like Trey Jones is a drive first guy, so is Io, so is Dalen Terry. Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry are not, and Trey Jones are not 3-point shooters. And the only guy that is really gonna be shooting threes next to Io is Jalen Smith. I just, that lineup also just did not make any sense to me to end the quarter. I thought Herter should have been out there. Like Patrick Williams maybe should have been just kind of stayed out there. Like there's these certain moments throughout the game where I just think that Billy kind of just loses it. Like he just kind of just all of a sudden just isn't maybe thinking like, oh, he thought this was like a good idea, and then he'll watch it like for like 3 minutes and it's like, yeah, we're still fine. No, it's just odd to me. I think that there's better options for the Bulls, because again, this team has talked about strength in numbers. We should be more than willing to go ahead and make some lineup changes when it's necessary, and I don't know, Billy just doesn't seem to be that willing to. So not happy with Billy at all, not happy with the coaching staff with this game, and I already talked about with Billy with the ejection and all. So yeah, that's this game, man. I'll briefly show some bad defense that we'll talk about in terms of film tonight, and then I want to go ahead into the next game here, where we need to talk about the Bulls and the Washington Wizards for their next game, because that's it's gonna be pretty important for the Bulls to go ahead and not play down to their competition tomorrow and actually go and beat the Wizards. So if you're wondering, okay, there's not gonna be like a rest advantage for the Wizards. Okay, the Wizards just got wrecked in Toronto, so they're gonna be traveling to the United Center from Toronto tonight. Okay, and coming to Chicago. Okay, so again, they just got wrecked in Toronto. Okay, they're the ones traveling. We get to sleep in our bed tonight, so there's no rest advantage at all for the Wizards tomorrow. Okay, both teams, or the Bulls and the Wizards, are coming off. This could be the second game of a back-to-back, and if there's gonna be any sort of rest advantage, it's gonna be for the Bulls. Okay, there's no rest advantage for the Wizards at all. Right? They just absolutely got wrecked. But okay, I guess Sarr maybe is not playing, so that might be a guy that we might miss. But Keyshawn George has had a pretty overall good season. He did not play too good tonight, but here's his season numbers, by the way, if you're wondering. This is the reason why I've been talking about him. So here's his season numbers, 14 games played. So this is a guy that you cannot take lightly. He's been shooting lights out from 3-point range. He's done really well. Don't know about Sarr, honestly. Don't know what's going on with that. But maybe the Bulls will miss Sarr. But that'll be kind of disappointing for me, because I want to see how Sarr plays. But we'll talk about that when we get through the film here after this. I see as about as much as a 3-point shooter as Giddey. Can hit wide open, likely to take, but isn't properly, etc. Yeah, and he can't really generate a 3-point shot off the dribble, really, right? Like Giddey isn't that sort of player either, where he's going to be taking like pull-up threes off a pick and roll. So there's like, yeah, both these guys have done well with taking and making their 3-point shots this season, especially Io's percentages are still just insane, even after tonight's game, and he missed 5 shots. Like, Io's percentages are just through the roof right now. But I agree, like it's not really like there's much 3-point shooting even with the good percentages, like with Io out there. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, not entirely sure what the plan is with Billy Dom in that lineup. Here's Io's numbers still. Jesus, this dude's about to shoot nearly 50% from 3-point range. Okay, so let me show a couple of things, because I know that some people are gonna be talking like, oh, well, the officials maybe did some stuff, and I'm like, no, they didn't. The Bulls defense was shit tonight. I'm sorry. We just have to talk about it. And I want to talk to you guys about the Bulls offense and it getting basically stalled from Miami, and Miami deserves a lot of credit for what they did. We're gonna do as much as we can to avoid copyright in the stream. I've been hit with copyright a ton, unfortunately. So we're gonna be doing our best to try to limit the copyrights with this stream here. So bear with me. Please be patient as I try to pull up some clips. We're gonna be limiting the amount of clips we show though today. So for example, if you want to show a play where the Bulls are just bad defensively, okay, this is one of those plays. And I'm here to just show you, like, no, this is not a bad call by the officials. This is just a straight up foul. And this is what Miami's offense is, okay? Like, if you're wondering how Miami's offense operates, like, this is a prime example of it, why it being so effective. So we're gonna see here, sorry, I'm avoiding copyright. Here's the inbound officially, and it's just straight up this, okay? It's, again, Miami doesn't run pick and roll, okay? So they just swing the ball and they throw it to the corner here, which is this guy in the corner, and like, you know, these guys in the corner, like, they're always a live option, okay? And it's just a straight up bam, it's just gonna drive, okay? One-on-one drive, okay? Because again, we're not running pick and roll because it brings two to the basketball. That's what Miami is thinking. So we're gonna always have 5 guys out on the floor that at any moment can shoot the 3 ball or drive to the paint. And Bam this season has been shooting the 3 ball at a pretty effective rate. So Jalen Smith closes out onto him. This is just a straight up foul, okay? He got beat on that step, and he just has to be better in staying in front of his man. Like, if you think that's not a foul, I don't know what to tell you, but this is just straight up no. This is individual defense was absolutely tested tonight, and it failed. And this is one of the examples, unfortunately. So that happened here. Bulls offense, okay? We're gonna go to an offensive set because it's in the second quarter here, so I don't want to change quarters, but like, let me just show you, okay, what Miami was doing tonight that was so effective to stop this Bulls offense. And this is the Bulls offense who wants to play with pace, etc. But you see here, okay, right now Bam is on Vucevic, so center on center matchup. Like, everyone is being guarded by typical guys, right? Ball gets thrown to Io, and then you're gonna see here that ball is thrown to Vuce, okay? Ball is then swung to Kevin Huerter on the other side, and we're going to see a pick and roll from Vucevic and Kevin Huerter, okay? And so what did I talk about? Miami is switching everything, right? Miami is looking to switch everything. And so here, Larson decides to take Vucevic. Adebayo is now on Kevin Huerter, okay? And so now this is where I'm already getting pissed off, because it's just like, what is a post-up going to do here? Like, Vuce is 20 feet away from the basket. I don't understand why this is even thrown to him at this point. Like, he got the position, I guess, but like, I would want him to get down here instead of catching the ball up here, or even get just to the elbow. Like, get a step in the paint before you even get the ball. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But just to show you how just ineffective this is, okay? Like, the reason why this doesn't work in any sort of fashion is that, like, hey, okay, ball's thrown to Vucevic, and Miami even decides to still double team in this spot. But the person that's going to come over to double is Bam, okay? And so the big man gets to go back to the big man in this sort of scenario, and you're going to see everyone else is just going to rotate effectively for Miami. And I think this is an actual, like, it's like an actual shot for Huerter. But, like, you see, here comes Drew Smith. Like, he's just moving on over. And, you know, it's an open-ish look, but it's just, like, that's basically what you're going to get from it. I'm not, again, and even if Smith just timed it better, like, I think that it wasn't even that great of a look. So, I don't know. I just don't think this is what we should be doing at all. And I understand the Bulls were trying to take advantage of that switch, but it's not through those means. It just won't work. So that's but that's part of the reason why the Bulls offense was stalled, because we're so used to there's a pick and roll set defense where the guard has to fight over the screen against us and we get a drive into the paint. It's like, that's what we rely on, but that's not what was given to us today. Miami said, we dare you to beat our defenders one-on-one, and we couldn't do it. And so next possession here, it's gonna be the first play of the third quarter, which was absolutely dreadful by the Bulls, and unfortunately it resulted in a Montes Buzelis twisted ankle, which really sucked. But to show the first possession of the third quarter here and why the Bulls offense was absolutely garbage, like, here's a typical set for the Bulls. It looks like a horn set potentially, but it changes on the fly. And it's going to be a little zoom action for Buzelis to come off the screen. Here's a switch, and then, oh, hey, look, another switch. So now Norman Powell, who is 6'3", is guarding Nikola Vucevic. Bam Adebayo is now on Montes Buzelis. And it's either, again, it's either that somehow Vuce has to take advantage of this, right? or the guys on the perimeter need to find a way to attack the basket while Bam Adebayo is out on the perimeter, so he can't come over and help. Or Buzelis himself needs to take advantage of Bam, and he was not able to do so tonight, okay? But we try to swing it over to Nikola Vucevic, right? And as this is happening, Powell is just shoving him out and further and further and further to the perimeter, and has a handout here, and I'm just like, Vooch, you gotta be better. You gotta find a way to seal this man. You gotta put in the work, okay? And Io can't get a clean pass in for the post entry, okay? Again, another step out. We started a step in the paint. We are now fully out of the paint here for Nikola Vucevic now. And it's like, okay, there's not even a reason to throw the ball to him at this point. But again, Norman Powell has an arm right here. Like, he is doing everything in his willpower to try to deny this, and Vooch has to find a way to prevent this. This is on Vooch. And we decided, okay, we're just gonna forget this, and we have to swing it back out into the perimeter. And so this is what I was asking him, like, hey, you know, someone has to take advantage of the big man out on the top of the key. You gotta find a way to break him down and get to the rim. And the Bulls just don't really have that right now, especially with Kobe being out. So we try to do a little slip screen action. And we get Larson onto Buzelis here for a line drive, and unfortunately it doesn't result into anything good. Results into a Vucevic 3 in the corner, but late shot clock possession, and Bulls get nothing out of it. There was nothing happening in that possession. Again, there just shouldn't be a full emphasis on trying to post up Vooch. It just doesn't make any sense. But if there is, like how it seems like the Bulls were trying to do today, then Vooch has to be better as a player. He has to find a way to be more effective in getting better post position and sealing his man down low and making himself a big target for the pass. What he did there against Norman Powell was unacceptable. We have to be better. Has to be much better effort from our 35-year-old vet that people praise about his, his vet status and his leading by example qualities, I guess. Here's a play here that I think this will probably be the last one. Or no, I have two more plays actually. But it's just straight up, again, another bad possession here for the Bulls. But watch this, okay? And again, this is just to show that it's on everybody. This is not just on Giddey for the bad defense tonight, but just watch. Like come on, bro. There's not even a screen here if you're Giddey, man. I understand this is a small guy. You got to find a way to offer some sort of resistance. Like, Giddey offered no resistance on this Davion Mitchell drive. This is unacceptable. And hey, this is unacceptable on all accounts. But like, come on, bro. There's not even a screen. And Giddey just gets blown by, and it leads to this. Like, that's not on Vooch. That's on Josh Giddey for not offering any resistance on Davion Mitchell there. When it's just like there's basically no reason to not offer any sort of resistance in that play. This pissed me off when I saw it, but this is what was happening to everybody tonight. Yeah, moving on. Let me show you then two differences in what the Bulls were in effort, okay, in what we need to see on a consistent basis tonight versus what we eventually saw, or what we saw for most of the night, okay. And I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about, okay. I tweeted out in the middle of the first quarter that because Miami does not run pick and roll, that this is a lot about the individual defensive effort tonight, okay? And it's about guys staying in front of their man as best as they can. So let's watch this possession, okay? Let's just watch this possession. Here comes the ball from Miami. Okay, we actually see like a little bit of a screen, but ends up really not being anything, okay? Ball is swung from left to right and into the corner here, okay? Let's watch Buzelis on this play. He does a good job. I mean, yes, he is back from his ankle injury in this moment, which he probably shouldn't have been. But watch what Buzelis does in this play. Okay, Fontecchio can definitely shoot it, but he can also drive it. And Buzelis does a good job of preventing it from an easy layup. Therefore, Trey Jones is able to get the steal. Right? This is what we needed. We need good effort on the individual level to allow guys to potentially get in the passing lanes or get steals. Okay, and then this is where I could just tell after this alley-oop attempt from Buzelis that he is just not 100%, okay? But meanwhile, though, let's talk about what happened after. Okay, so that was a good defensive possession for the Bulls there, and it was just individually they just stayed in front of their guy, right? But next possession here, let's watch this. Okay, it's just, all right, switch. Hawkins gets a step in the paint already. and Buzelis tried to come in for some reason to try to swipe at this. I don't know why, honestly. This is just a bad decision overall. But because Dalen Terry allowed Hawkes to get such an easy spot into the paint here with a live dribble, this is way too simple. The defense has to collapse onto him, and it gets forced out for a Norman Powell potential three-point shot. Buzelis closes out on roller skates. He's now past him. Dalen Terry has to move on over. Ends up being a foul. This is bad defense, okay? This is not, oh, that's a terrible call by the officials. No, this is just bad defense. This is bad defense. Why did the Bulls foul so much tonight? Bad defense, okay? The effort is just bad. And it's unfortunate just to see this. I'm pretty pissed off with the level of defense. This is just effort. This is not anything else. This is just effort. I'm aware this Bulls team lacks personnel that can maybe be elite defenders, but it just comes down to effort at the end of the day. You have to give the effort. And moving on to what's going to be our game tomorrow, okay? The Washington Wizards are not just going to give us the win, okay? They are a bad team. They are very much a bad team, especially if Sarr is not playing. But they're not just going to give us the win tomorrow. You need to come out and prove to everybody in the arena, including the opposing team's players, that you're the better team tomorrow. You do not have the luxury to play down a competition. Not one bit whatsoever, okay? You need to come out and be better against the Wizards, and just give a better defensive effort. Just showing up defensively will give you a much better chance of winning this game alone, okay? Even if the offense is not even playing that great. You need to come out and show you're the better team. Because last time, when you should have been clearly the better team, you lost to the Detroit Pistons G League team. So, this is a chance here where, yes, they have CJ McCollum or Chris Middleton, who are some vets, but y'all gotta show up and prove to everyone in the arena that you're better. Don't let this Washington team stick around. Be better, okay? The defensive effort tonight is unacceptable, and it better not continue tomorrow. That's all I'm gonna say. To be honest, it's more disappointing pulling the zone against Miami this one. The zone made no sense to me because it doesn't prevent Miami from doing what they just typically do, right? Miami is, again, they don't really run many actions. Their entire offense is based off individuals, all 5 of them at any given moment can either shoot the 3 or drive. So you running a zone doesn't really stall them at all. All 5 guys are on the perimeter anyway. All 5 guys can drive at any given moment, right? And so you running the zone is just straight up it doesn't do anything. Not really sure what the Bulls were looking at tonight, but yeah, man, it's ridiculous. Usually I would say the Bulls' peak defensive weakness has been screen navigation up near at the top, yet no pick and rolls and still not staying in front is sad as now you highlighted. Yeah, even when the Bulls weren't in zone, it's just that we're not even just giving the effort, right? That Dalen Terry, yeah, he prevented Jaime Jaquez from getting a layup in a sense, but he allowed Jaquez to just get right into the paint as easily as he could. It's the paint touch that's the problem. You allowed Jaquez just to get right there, and it's just okay, well, it's gonna force someone to come on over. Unacceptable, just straight up. Yeah, no pick and rolls and still not staying in front of is sad as, yeah. Feels worse effort wise, etc. And that's not everybody, but it doesn't make any sense for me to see this because no one on this team, especially the bench guys, no one should be guaranteed minutes. Everybody should be fighting for their own minutes. Every single time you touch the floor when you're a Chicago Bull this season, you should be thinking, oh, I gotta prove to Billy I deserve these minutes right now because there's someone else apparently on that bench that can just take your minutes at any given moment, right? I mean, no one really showed up defensively today. Not one person. Maybe Jalen Smith on some blocks, but that's it. This is unacceptable. We can't continue this, man. I want to see the actual numbers now that we have it officially updated into the system. Again, before tonight's game, the Bulls were ranked 20th in defensive rating in the month of November. Actually, it might just be for the season. Okay. Month of November now, with the L officially in, we have the 24th ranked defensive rating, and then we take away the month. Bulls are now 22nd, I guess. So I think it was just the season. So I mean, this is a defense that was number 1 and getting some luck with not giving up 3-point shots or not having 3-pointers fall earlier in the year, and it really helped them. And even tonight, like, Miami didn't make a ton of threes tonight. Like, it's not like they like wrecked us from 3-point range. And they made 14 of 38. So it was just, again, gave up too many looks in the paint, and it led to free throws. So I need better effort, guys. I need better effort. So with that being said, let's talk about the Wizards. Okay, I want to look at some stats because I have not really done much scouting on the Wizards, but I do want to look at some stats here to be like, okay, what is some stuff we got to worry about? Because I mean, we knew about Miami coming into today. Like their pace, their scoring is at an insane level. Defensively, they're also like pretty all right, and so we saw all that tonight. But let's look at some stuff when it comes to the Wizards and see what the Bulls need to pay attention to. So, I mean, the Wizards have been honestly like the worst team in the league, so I honestly don't really know what to be looking for. Okay, so they are bottom 10 in terms of points in the paint per game. Fast break points, they are top 10. So do not give up any sort of turnovers to them. Okay, like if you feed them turnovers, you're basically feeding them fast break points. So let's not do that. And the Bulls had 18 turnovers tonight. So let's not just feed them fast break points by turning it over and having those stupid turnovers like we've seen so far. In terms of second chance points, they're not that big of an issue, but this has been an issue for the Bulls overall. So this just can't take. Just gotta be careful of that. Okay, this is surprising, honestly, but I guess this just shows you how much the Bulls do not turn their opponent over. Like they don't generate turnovers. But this is points off turnovers for the Wizards. Traditional factors for the Wizards. Okay, 3-point shooting, I think is dreadful. I guess not, actually. I guess the Wizards are actually pretty solid. Where are they? I'm blind. Here they are. Okay, no, they're actually a pretty solid 3-point shooting team. Okay, so I mean, this is gonna be important. All right, I officially have my key to the game then. Like, this Wizards team has the 3-point shooting to just kind of put a bunch of threes on your head, I guess. So be careful with this. Do not let them just like get hot from 3-point range, because they very clearly, I mean, like that's not, I'm thinking about it with the roster. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, McCollum's there, Middleton's there, Keyshawn George, again, we talked about him earlier. At Kispert, like they have guys that can definitely shoot the 3-ball for sure. Oh yeah, Trey Johnson when he's healthy. God, I completely forgot about Trey Johnson, their draft pick. Yeah, this makes sense. So I mean, we got to lock in on these guys. I mean, even Bub Carrington, who's been flat out awful overall from the field, but is shooting 44% from 3-point range. Like, this is gonna be the key factor. So Bulls defense from the perimeter needs to be on lock. Not necessarily about their drives, but not letting these guys get open looks from 3-point range. This has to get figured out quickly. So be on the lookout for this. Again, don't feed this team turnovers, man. Like, we have so many bad turnovers already. Don't feed them turnovers and let them just suddenly just get some easy points out of it. They have the guys to potentially get some easy points and take advantage of transition. Dear Lord, bro, the Indiana Pacers are shooting 41% from the field in the season, bro. What the hell is this? This is flat out disgusting. Like, that's 2% worse than the second worst team. That is this, like, I think Memphis is already having a horrible year. This is ridiculous. Oh God, I did not realize it was this bad. I know it's bad for Indiana. Like, they're going through, like, they're in a weird spot with all this shit going on with them. But like, I mean, Indiana, like, you know, it kind of makes sense with what's going on. But yikes, man. All right, so with this recent stretch here, guys, like, I'm honestly really concerned because this Bulls team doesn't give me much hope in trying to, like, oh, we're gonna beat up on the bad teams. Like, we should. But I don't know, honestly. This next stretch though, like, this is probably like the last like rough game for a bit here. So next games for the Bulls. Washington's tomorrow. They'll be back here. 7 p.m. Central Time is the game. Be back here for 9:30 p.m. post game on this channel. New Orleans is on Monday, okay, for next week. Then we're off for 3 days, so I don't want to really like. I was already pissed off about this whole like fatigue or whatever. Like the Bulls just like before their West Coast trip, the Bulls had 3 days off, so like I don't want to hear about fatigue honestly. But people have their sayings. But I don't want to hear about fatigue, especially after that New Orleans game. Like there's no reason to be talking about fatigue with this Bulls team. Okay, but we face New Orleans on Monday, then Thanksgiving, we'll have a break up through Thanksgiving, and then the Bulls are gonna be back on Friday for our last NBA Cup game, and that's gonna be against Charlotte. Okay, that's gonna be in Charlotte. So this is gonna be an important game, and then Indiana is on the back-to-back after it. So these are all, in my opinion, the Bulls should be going 4-0. So. I think honestly, I'm being dead serious right now. That should be the standard. If you go less than 4-0, I think it's a failure. I'm already gonna say though, I'm scared about this game. This Charlotte game to me seems so losable for the Bulls. And if they don't lose this game, then I'm worried about this game right after. So, I trust the Bulls get these next two, but I don't know. It can get weird. Then we have Orlando after that, which will be interesting to see how this time it's going to go around. But Orlando's been better recently. Brooklyn and Indiana again. So, you're looking at these next 7 games. Like, you should be winning 6 of them in theory. Then the schedule gets tough again. But like, when I tell you that this is a very important stretch for the Bulls, like this is a very important stretch. Like, because if you don't come out and win these games like you should, then it's not like it's gonna get any easier for you. These are games you should all be winning, except maybe this Orlando game. Like you gotta win these games. I don't care if they're back-to-backs. You gotta win these games, man. I don't want to hear about fatigue or anything like that. These games are important. So come out tomorrow and win. That is gonna be the message that I have for the Bulls. So come out tomorrow, show that you're the better team. We'll see if Sarr is going to be playing and maybe Trey Johnson is going to be playing. We will see how their status is. But we'll see who's actually going to be available. Now, before I end stream here, I do want to talk about what happened tonight when it came to some of the Bulls players, okay? I'm going to go to Casey Johnson and see if he tweeted out anything. I did not see anything, so I'm going to go Julia Poe. I am very much... I'll be paying attention to the injury reports that come out. Okay, yeah, I guess we have not gotten any sort of update. So, and this is what Julia Poe tweeted out during the game. So yeah, Dalen Terry left with the left calf issue, that was the surprising thing. And then Buzelis officially was out for the rest of the game with his ankle issue. Julia Poe also tweeted out that the Bulls, Isaac Okoro was, they put Isaac Okoro as questionable to return. But it looks like we did not get any sort of update on their status yet. So, I am personally just myself when it comes to Buzelis. I am personally very concerned about Buzelis's ankle for tomorrow. Buzelis tried to truck it out today, and then they eventually pulled him out for the game. That's gonna be worse tomorrow, and it's a back-to-back, so we don't have any time for rest here. So, it's gonna be honestly really interesting to see what the Bulls do. But I think that we need to go and recall Asenge for tomorrow. I think Buzelis will be out. So, don't know what that means for the starting lineup, but maybe Patrick Williams is going to get his first start of the season tomorrow. We will see what they do. If possible, and I'm hoping it is, I think Kobe White needs to start. I will give Billy some credit for changing the starting lineup today because I think that was the proper decision to do. It struggled, and at the first time out, the Bulls weren't trailing, so that's a good sign, at least. So, Maybe just keep an eye on the starting lineup. We will see. But I think it's going to be important to recall Senge because I do not know who's going to be available tomorrow for the Bulls. No Buzelis. Kobe will be playing. I'm going to assume Trey Jones will be also playing. Herder, obviously, he got ejected today, so he should be available. But Okoro, Terry, and Buzelis are 3 guys that I am not sure what their status is going to be. All 3 did not return once they were officially deemed to be they can't play anymore. So recall Senge and come back, and I mean, even with all 3 of these guys injured, I think the Bulls should still show that they're a better team. Especially with Kobe being back. Like, you have your backcourt of what people think is the future. Vooch is still here, okay? Off the bench, even if you don't have like Io coming off the bench or whatever, but like you're still gonna have Jalen Smith coming off the bench. You're still gonna have one of Trey Jones or Io or Herder coming off the bench. And then you have Julian Phillips and Javon Carter. I mean, I feel like you still have enough to win this game, but I definitely am very much aware that they'll be down numbers, but they got to go out and still take care of business, I think. And the Wizards are coming in from out of this country, okay? There's no rest advantage for the Wizards. In fact, the Bulls have the rest advantage because they get to stay at home tonight. So you got to come out and just be prepared to beat this Wizards team tomorrow. If Sarr's not playing and the Bulls lose, it's just unacceptable, unfortunately. Just unacceptable. So Bulls gotta show up tomorrow, just give better effort defensively, and that just has to be it. Yeah. I'll get into the last segment here before we do end stream. I do want to go ahead and check in on what Noah Senge did tonight and see if I can find some highlights. Before we get into the Noah Senge highlights, though, please hit the like button on the stream. Would sincerely appreciate if you could. If you're enjoying the content, not liking because the Bulls, did well today, but just liking just because you've enjoyed the content for the season on this channel. Hope you guys are enjoying it. All right, let's check this out. So I saw Senge's final stat line, but I didn't get to see his entire box score. But if you're wondering why Noah Senge was not playing today, in the blowout, is because he was playing in the G League. So if this would work, that'd be great. Not sure why this is this, but okay, let's try this again. There we go. All right, well, it looks like 2 Chicago teams did not play defense tonight. That's great. Okay, so Senge tonight, we don't get the minutes, I guess. That's unfortunate. 7-13, 1 of 5 from 3-point range, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block shot. 22 points overall, right? I don't know what is this, okay? Am I stupid? I believe that just means points, so I'll just say points. 22 points tonight for Noah Senge. So pretty solid overall again in the G League. I wish this was better, but let's go ahead and see if we can find some highlights. If we can't find any highlights, if you're part of my Discord, I will definitely be watching Noah Senge's game either tonight or tomorrow, and then I'll be giving you guys my thoughts in my Discord, and then if you guys are interested, I can give it to you guys on stream tomorrow. But I think Senge actually needs to get called up here because I'm not really sure how many guys could be available to play, and he might actually have to get some minutes. Let's see if I can find some highlights though. Okay. I have some clips. I don't have anything that's like highlight compilation, unfortunately, but I have some clips, so I guess we'll just roll with it. Let's see. Okay, well, I have 2 fast break clips. I guess that's something we can just look at. um, here's something that's intriguing at least. Okay, so here's this play. I want to show you guys. I'm sorry about the quality, but it's just unfortunate this is the quality. I can't change it. I'm sorry. This is just the Windy City Bulls account, so I'm sorry about the quality here. But here's a second game. He's running the fast break here. Catches the ball and he actually lobs it up himself here to Ulbrich here. So that's actually really cool to see that Senge feel confident enough in his passing ability to throw a lob in the fast break, and it's not him getting, being the reception of the lob. He's actually throwing it. So that's good to see. I'm gonna show you the first play here for Noah. It's a strip, and then he goes down the floor and gets it and slams it home. So that's good defensive play, and then is able to get a transition bucket. And so again, he gets this time in the passing lanes. I mean, first and foremost, this is impressive. Like I like seeing this a lot. Getting his hand in the passing lanes. This is where his length is going to come into effect. Gets in the passing lanes and is out on the races. So he just runs this by himself, it looks like. Beats everyone else down the floor and slams it in. So that's good. Okay, so don't see anything else here. And so that's all the clips we have. But that's 2 of the made buckets he had tonight, and then 1 of his assists. So one of his 2 assists. So unfortunately, I don't have more, but I do have ESPN Plus, so I'll be watching the recording of the G League or of this game, and I'll be getting to my notes to you guys either tomorrow on stream, or if you're part of my Discord, I'll probably be releasing it in the middle of the day. So I'll be interested to see how he did, and I think that the Bulls might actually need to play him tomorrow. If Dalen Terry, Okoro, and who's else are all out, then like Patrick Williams has to start, and then oh boy, starting laps gonna be it's gonna be Giddy, Kobe, assuming Kobe's starting, and Herder, Williams, and Vooch, and then off the bench you have Io. I guess maybe Io starts at the 3, or maybe it's Herder, who knows? But Io, Jones, yeah, I guess it'd just be a Senge then, and then Phillips. So Julian Phillips could be really important tomorrow, and then obviously Jalen Smith. So, Bulls might actually only have 10 guys available tomorrow, unless Javon Carter. I forgot about him. So it'll be 11 guys available tomorrow. So yeah, bring up a Senge, and we'll see if he gets some time. It'll be exciting if Noah Senge is able to play tomorrow, because I think this is probably the best game to play him in. The Bulls should be taking care of business. That if he makes mistakes, it really shouldn't matter. But I think the Bulls need to bring him up. So that's gonna be important. What happened? Okay, what happened here? I saw some stuff on Twitter, but what happened? I don't know. All right, I guess. But Nuggets won a thriller of a game, it looks like. So this is gonna be an awesome matchup to watch as the season goes along. I'll be checking out the highlights of this game as I end stream. Oh, this is shocking. Durant? That's very unlike you, Durant. Oh my God. I guess the Nuggets did a good job. All right, that's interesting. All right, y'all. That's gonna do though for the stream tonight. I sincerely appreciate everyone tuning in to a Bulls blowout loss. I know that overall sucks, but I sincerely do appreciate you guys tuning in and thinking that we still gotta talk about this, and still willing to talk to me about it, and we can be true to our analysis and not just be like, oh, it's just fatigue or whatever. We can't do that. So I appreciate y'all tuning in and chatting with me. I sincerely do appreciate it. If you've not hit the like button on the stream yet, please do help me out a lot. If you're new to the channel like Bulls content, please subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow to break down the Bulls versus Wizards game, and again, the Bulls should be winning that one. We will see. But we also will be getting updates and seeing who's gonna actually be available, because yeah, I don't know, man. I'm worried about a lot of guys right now. So be on the lookout for that as the day goes on tomorrow, seeing who's gonna be available for tomorrow's game. With that being said, though, I sincerely appreciate you guys tuning into the stream. I'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. Central Time for the postgame stream. All right. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night. Be safe. Peace.